Welcome back to Inside the Nest. I'm Jack Bartek.
And I'm Max Strauss.
Montclair State University has been a hub for NJAC playoff action this season, hosting championship games in women's basketball, football, men's soccer, and women's lacrosse. But today it'll witness some fairly uncommon action.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jack. You'd have to go back to 2014 to see either the baseball team or softball team host NJAC playoff action. But today, they'll both be taking their respective home stadiums just 300 yards away.
Well, Max, I know you're on the softball call with Jess Lipson. I'll be taking the baseball duties along with John Kosoban. It promises to be a day full of excitement. Let's check out the highlights. We'll start out with baseball, welcoming Kane to town as the number 4 seed. The winner of this one would take on the number 1 seeded Rowan in the conference semifinals next weekend. Top of the first, 2 outs, man on second. The score already 1-0. Phil Marcantonio singles into right field. That one would bring Phil Malik all the way around from second. As he slides in, Kane goes up 2-0 early. Then top of the third, Kane leading 2-1. Zach Marzano with a mean bat flip. He sends one over the left field wall. That put Kane up 5-1. His team fired up after the blast. Then bottom of the 5th, nobody on, nobody out, 5-2 Kane lead. Pete Cosentino answers with the solo shot of his own, trying to cut into it. Gives the Redhawks their 3rd run of the game, gets them within 2. But then top of the 6th, 6-3 Kane, 2 men on, Tim Huxon right up the middle. That scores Connor DeForge from 3rd, Frank LaJudas from 2nd. Kane extends their lead to 8-3. Bottom of the 7th, 9-3, Andrew Allworther on 2nd. Mike Murphy, he singles, that plates Allworther, makes the score 9-4, but it wouldn't be enough as the Redhawks fall short 12-4 in Game 1. With the doubleheader format, Game 2 would start shortly after with Montclair State's season hanging in the balance. We'll pick it up in the top of the 3rd, the Redhawks leading 1-0, 1 out, men on 2nd and 3rd. Andrew Allworther delivers the big hit. Joe Norton comes around to score. Pete Cosentino right behind him. Allworther would go 4 for 6 with 3 RBIs. That one put the Redhawks up 3-0. Later in the inning, still nobody out, bases loaded. Sam Angelo singles to left field. That brings home Michael Murphy and Allworther, part of a 5-run inning to give the Redhawks a 6-0 lead. Then 2 innings later, nobody out, a runner on first. Mike Murphy with a blast to left field. Just over that left field fence, a 2-run bomb, and the Redhawks increase their lead to 8-0. Then move to the bottom of the 6th, a 10-0 Montclair State lead. Tim Huxon at the plate for Kane. He singles in a run up the middle, scoring Malik from 2nd. That gives Kane their 1st run of the game and made it 10-1, but it wouldn't go anywhere. The Redhawks get the crucial 13-4 win in Game 2 and force a Game 3 to decide who would go to the semifinal.
Honestly, we just came out ready to play, made a few more plays. Honestly, not much of a difference. A couple hits go our way here and there, and it's just a whole different game.
First game, we were moving along well. Some hits didn't fall our way. So we got some bad calls. The second game, we all just kept our heads down. We kept our approach the same, and baseball came through for us.
I'm just looking to have a good game, come out ready to play, and we'll see what happens.
We're going to try our best, play our hardest, stick to the same stuff we've normally been doing the past couple days, and whatever happens, happens.
With rain postponing the game on Saturday, it left us with a Sunday Mother's Day matinee to punch the final ticket to the semifinal. We'll pick it up in the top of the 4th. Already a 2-0 lead, 2 outs. Phil Malik delivers a huge double to center. That scores Connor DeForge and Frank LaJudas and gives Kane a 4-0 lead. But then bottom of the inning, 4-1, 2 men on, 2 men out, and it's Eric Havner with a big single in the 5.5 hole. That scores Mike Murphy and Sam Angelo, and Montclair State pulls within 1. Then bottom of the 6th, nobody on, 2 outs. Sam Angelo with a huge blast to right field, clears the fence with ease, and ties the game at 4 apiece, and it seemed like we were in for a great finish. But then move to the top of the 7th, bases loaded, nobody out. Pitcher Chris Lum finds himself in some trouble, walks in the go-ahead run. That put Kane up 5-4, and they looked to get a rally going and did not look back. Later in the inning, bases loaded and 2 outs. Tim Huxon put it away with a 2 RBI single. That made the game 12-4 at the end of the 7th inning. Kane would go on to win 14-5 and dash Montclair State's dreams of heading to the semifinal. Jack Bartek alongside John Kosoban here at Yogi Berra Stadium as the rain droplets fall. Post-game, a somber one here after Game 3 and a tough end to the Red Hawks season.
Yeah, you know, they dropped the first game on Friday. It was tough. You could tell it just really wasn't their game. And then they came back in Game 2 and won that one. A couple of blowouts for both of those teams. The Bats came alive, and then setting up this Game 3 loss here on Sunday.
Yeah, you mentioned it on Friday. The Bats were alive. They got to split this one, resulting in an exciting Game 3 on Saturday. The rain pushed that back to today, a Sunday Mother's Day matinee. And it was a good one early on. Kane held an early advantage. And then in the 6th inning, Sam Angelo struck, tying the game 4-4 with a home run. But in the 7th inning, it was Kane pouncing with a couple of walks.
Yeah, it really got rough there. Sean Lewandowski got pulled after one pitch. And then they went to Chris Lum, who clearly wasn't ready coming out of the pen. A couple of walks there, some more errors. And then Kane just really ran up the score from there. A domino effect that put Montclair in the grave the rest of the way as the rain fell. And a tough end to what was actually a fantastic season for them.
Yeah, that 8-run inning, Kane never looked back. They ended up winning 14-5, and so they will move on to take on Rowan in the semifinal. Montclair State ends their season at 20-10, their most wins in a season since 2016. Certainly a campaign to be proud of. Despite the unfortunate outcome this past weekend for the baseball team, it was still a season to remember, and they were recognized with some all-conference honors, led by Peter Cosentino getting the first team all-conference nod. Michael Murphy, the freshman, after a great year, got the second team honor. And then Andrew Allworther, Jason Moore, Joe Norton, and Anthony Garino rounded out the honorable mention cast. Congratulations to all of those players on their great seasons.
On Friday afternoon, third-seeded Montclair State had its first game of a Friday doubleheader in the best-of-3 NJAC Quarterfinals matchup against 6th-seeded Stockton University. Top of the first, Leonie Ortiz singled to left, and Lovely James flew home to get Stockton on the board, 1-0. Top of the third, bases loaded with Ortiz at the plate. She hits it into left as James and Angie Dunphy capitalize on a 2-run double, making it 4-0. The Red Hawks wouldn't go down without a fight as Embry hit it into center, which frees up Jenna Maluso, making the long sprint to home, putting the Red Hawks on the board 4-1. MSU attempted a comeback, but loses momentum as Dunphy hits the pitch to third and gets an RBI single as James gets another run for Stockton. The Red Hawks would try to climb back, but it was a little too late as the Red Hawks fall to Stockton 6-3 in the first game of the series doubleheader. That one is hit into right field, but right there is Dunphy, and Stockton finds a way as Cimararo stomps off the mound for a 6-3 victory here in game number 1. They find themselves up 1-0 here in the best-of-3. In the second game of the best-of-3 series, Montclair State was looking to knot up the series at 1 apiece. Both teams wouldn't budge throughout the game, holding each other to 0 runs in the first 5 innings. However, that would all end as Dunphy hits a grounder that was too hot to handle for Maluso, allowing Meg Merzello to score, giving the Ospreys a 1-0 lead. Moments later, Jenna Patterson hits the ball perfectly up the middle, giving up a crucial double as Dunphy and James score to give Stockton a 3-0 lead. The Red Hawks wouldn't stay quiet for long as sophomore Alexis Law hits it to right. Stockton bobbles the ball, allowing Kayla Cosentino to fly on home and give the Red Hawks on the board, score 3-1. The Ospreys stood tall and came out of MSU Softball Stadium with a hard-fought victory, beating Montclair State 3-1, winning the best-of-3 series against Montclair State and advancing to the semifinals.
Hello, I'm Jess Lipson alongside Max Strauss. We're here just wrapping up the Montclair State softball season where they lost a tough one to Stockton University in the first round of the NJAC tournament. Montclair came into this one 13-7, looking pretty good. Couldn't get the job done here. What do you think was the reason for that?
Yeah, just not being able to get on base, not winning the game at the plate. Yes, you can win the game on the base pass, but they really beat themselves at the plate by not end up getting runs to come in. First and second, early on in game number 1, not able to score a run. We even saw an instance where it was 2nd and 3rd, and they were not able to score. That instance was with no outs, not able to really drive the ball up in the air and get some extra base hits. A lot of balls on the ground, and so only scoring 3 runs in game number 1 and 1 run in game number 2. They got decent outings from their pitchers, but not able to back it up at the plate.
Yeah, Montclair's pitching has been a really big strength for them, and they were overshadowed by Stockton's arms today and in both games. So that was a big reason. As for Montclair State, that will wrap up the 2021 season.
The Montclair State softball team saw 5 players get named to NJAC All-Conference. First baseman Kayla Gallo, designated player Kayla Cosentino, and shortstop Amber Powers were named to the first team, while pitcher Ali Cavallaro and outfielder Alyssa Borzin were named to the second team.
I'm here at Ramapo University for the NJAC Track and Field Championships. There are plenty of athletes representing the university today. Here's how they did. Graduate student Christine Griffith continued her dominant season as she won the javelin event with a throw of 40.7 meters, earning 10 points for her team. Senior Lena Bellotti also performed well in javelin, finishing 4th with a distance of 36.85 meters. Griffith was proud of her performance and talked through the process to get it done.
For javelin, I felt really confident going into my first throw. My coach had my back 100%, as well as my teammates. Just from the get-go, feeling that release coming off, seeing that flight, felt really good. It just carried through the entire event.
Griffith also competed in shot put, as she secured her second event win of the day with a winning throw of 12.73 meters. Birthday girl Tara Mastriani also had a strong showing in shot put as she finished in 8th place with a throw of 10.02 meters.
I believe I did really well. I feel like I could have improved a little bit more, but I reached 10 meters and that was my goal. I didn't PR, but I think I did really well, so that's what I'm really happy about.
Senior Brooke Filippini secured 2 points in the 3,000 meter steeplechase event, while the 4x400 meter team took 4th place. Overall, the women's team finished in 5th place at the NJAC Championships. On Sunday, it was the men's turn, as John Griffith got things started by winning the shot put event with a throw of 14.71 meters. Naeem Kinsey finished 3rd in the event, and David McDevitt finished 6th. Senior Damian Valentine earned 1st place in javelin, getting 10 points for the Redhawks. Sophomore Cameron Martin placed 4th in the 110-meter hurdles, as you can see here, and 7th in the 400-meter hurdles. And the men's 4x100 team grabbed 3rd place, securing 6 points for MSU. Senior Nana Anti placed 3rd in the 100-meter dash with a time of 10.9 seconds and 4th place in the 200-meter dash. Overall, the men's team finished 4th out of 10 teams at the event, capping off a strong weekend for Montclair's track and field program.
And now it's time for this week's top plays. Coming in at number 3, Damian Valentine at the NJAC Championships with his winning javelin throw of over 60 meters.
Drives this one to the left field, a base hit. Cosentino might have a chance, comes up firing, hits Norton, the throw home. He's out at the plate. What a play by Pete Cosentino. A beautiful relay, and the Redhawks cut one down at the dish. It's 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. No one going, this one line to short. What a play by Reyes. That's gonna be 2. A huge play by Aiden Reyes.
Going on top plays, baby.
Both the men's and women's lacrosse teams had tough losses in their conference tournaments, with the women falling in the NJAC title game against TCNJ and the men losing in the CSEC semifinal to Kane. Inside the Nest analysts Jack Bartek and Campbell Donovan are here with us today to talk about the team's seasons.
Thank you very much for having us, Kayla.
Thank you, Kayla.
Of course. So, Jack, let's start with the Women's Championship and talking a little bit about their season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off with the championship game, and they kind of got a taste of their own medicine from TCNJ. You look back at the semifinal against Stockton, they controlled the draws and controlled the possession from there. TCNJ did exactly that, used it to jump out to a 6-0 lead, and that's just too big of a hole to bury yourself in to start against a team like that. And they weren't able to recover. I thought they played better from there, but again, it's just such a hard hole to recover from. But that loss should not define their season. They had such a spectacular year, whether it was defeating TCNJ in the regular season or, receiving their first national ranking since 2012. A great year, nothing to be ashamed of.
And how about for the men, Campbell?
For the men, I think you could go with the 7 out of 8 game stretch that they had. That lone loss was against Stockton, 21-12, where NJAC Player of the Year Joey Tiernan had 11 points, ruining the Red Hawk defense, of course, and also just the stretch that they had also with the 3 losses against Keene, and when goalkeeper Thomas Francie had 43 saves during that stretch, and that 60-yard bomb they had the first game of the year. But also next year with the COVID, everyone's coming back and have that extra year of ability and might get that bad taste out of their mouths looking over at that Keene sideline celebrating from last week.
That is true. And both of these teams are loaded with talent, with numerous players on both ends being named to the all-conference selections. So who are some of the X factors on these teams?
I think it starts for the women's lacrosse team in net with the brick wall, Alan Lillian, her first time as the full-time starter in net for the Redhawks. And she only led the conference in saves with 110 and goals allowed per game with just under 8. Ridiculous numbers. Then offensively, they had Megan Malstadt, who was really a Swiss Army knife, led the conference in points with 25 goals and 22 assists, a respected captain. Brittany Costigan, a draw control expert, did such a great job for this team in the circle this year. And then defensively, I would say Megan Gorman was the backbone of a great defensive unit. It was a team effort, but I think when it comes down to it, those were the players that they really leaned on in the biggest moments.
Okay, and how about some of the men's players?
Sophomore midfielder Tyler McCurry, 55 points this year, led the CTAC in assists, got his 100th career point against Brent Athen, captain, of course, and he's just been a leader out there. He's the driving force for this Red Hawks team. And on the defensive side, you got Julian LSM, Wilson Smith, 69 ground balls, 26 caused turnovers. He's just been outstanding on both ends, but defensive-wise, he's just doing what he's told. And you also got sophomore midfielder Christian Boyle, 30 points, even man up. Situations, he's been spectacular.
That is for sure. So what do you think was each of these teams' best moments this season?
This was an easy one for me, the one that you circle on the calendar, TCNJ. The first victory over this team in program history, broke a 25-game losing streak. You look at that one, Allie and Lillian played out of her mind, 25 saves. She was standing on her head. Amber Gonzalez with 4 goals. That was the win that really signaled this team was legit, got them the national ranking, and they carried it all the way to the championship.
If you want excitement, look no further than to the game-winning goal from number 6 Joe Cavino with a minute left to spare for the first win of the season for the Red Hawks against Newman University. It was very huge for Coach Posker and his squad to get that first victory after losing to Keene and defending national champion Cabrini.
So finally, let's look ahead to 2022. What are some things that need to carry over for these teams to get those titles?
Well, I think obviously you have to build off of the success of this season, and I trust that they will, but the advice that I would give is keep that chip on your shoulder from this year. Any athlete that's played organized sports knows the pain of seeing somebody celebrate on your field. Keep that in your mind. Let it fuel the fire to come back next year and be the ones hoisting the trophy at Sprague Field.
Well, Jack, I can agree with you on that one. Coach Posker has the experience factor with this squad coming back for another year, and keep that motivation intact and want to come back strong next year and have a good fall ball in early October and come back in the spring looking to win the CSAC championship and get a tournament bid.
Thank you for joining me and great insights. Let's hope next season both teams get to raise the trophy.
Finally on Inside the Nest, a rising star on Montclair State's field hockey team, Lauren, a great goalkeeper, has been becoming a pretty big deal this season. Let's take a moment to relish in her career thus far. The star goalkeeper for Montclair State's field hockey team has always stood out, and not just because she has a more unique name than most, Pickle. Lauren Pickul earned NJAC All-Conference Honorable Mention honors this season, but as for that name,
sometimes I'll have professors or people who have never met me before, they'll see it and try and say Pickul or just something else besides Pickle because they're like too scared to say Pickle or they don't want to offend me. But it's kind of funny because I'm like, no, it's Pickle, but it's something that a lot of times people do get wrong.
So where do the Pickles originally come from?
We're pretty sure that my last name Pickle is either German or Polish. We're not really sure exactly, and we're not really sure if it was always Pickle or if it was something longer before. But for as long as I can tell, it's always just been Pickle.
Keeping with German tradition, the Pickle family celebrates Christmas in a way befitting of their name.
One tradition that we've kind of picked up in my family is hanging pickles on our tree like at Christmas, and it's just something kind of special that we have, mainly because our last name's Pickle, but I know it is also a German tradition.
As for other traditions, some athletes drink pickle juice before games to fuel up on electrolytes, but Lauren's pregame tradition is a bit different.
This year, me and my roommate, Lindsay Champa, who's also on the field hockey team, started a little game day ritual. On the way to games in the car, we'll always sing Lay Your Love on Me by Mamma Mia because we really love the movie. And we kind of just like to dance and sing in the car, and it gets us excited for the game.
One of Lauren's signature traits for being recognized on the field was her helmet.
So originally, I think it was my sophomore year in high school, I had gotten a new helmet, which is the same helmet I have, but I had gotten it airbrushed with, it said Pickle at the bottom in like a cool font, and then on the side I had a picture of a pickle. But recently I had to get my helmet refurbished and get a few parts of it fixed. And so when they did that, they had to paint over it, which was kind of upsetting at the time, but I kind of like it plain, but I kind of do miss the pickle sometimes.
For Lauren, her last name is as memorable as her play.
I don't think I've ever really been embarrassed of my last name. I've always kind of been able to use it as a joke or just like a funny nickname. It's kind of just part of me, I guess.
She was NJAC and NFHCA Division III Defensive Player of the Week selection and posted double-digit for saves in all 3 contests this shortened season. Call it Pickle Pride or Pickle Power. And when it comes to being under pressure, Lauren and her teammates are able to stay cool, calm, and collected.
I think a few times this year we maybe got ourselves into a couple pickles on the field, but I think we all just took a breath and stayed cool like a cucumber, and we were able to just play our game.
And of course, we had to ask her if she even likes pickles.
It's kind of funny, something that a lot of people will always ask me when they hear my last name for the first time is they'll ask if I like pickles, and it's kind of funny because I don't like them. When I was little, I've tried them, and I didn't like it. And I don't know if it's because of the taste or just the whole premise of the idea, but I haven't tried a pickle in a long time, so I'd be curious to see if my taste buds have changed, if I would like it, or just because of my last name, I would just have a different feeling towards it.
Like 'em or not, one thing is for sure. Lauren Pickul is a name to remember.